and long, long after. I know you do, and I love you too. Now kiss me.
You kiss each other passionately, ready to face the darkest dark. You think back on your journey here, on all that you have seen and done. You think of the Magisters, and the sorcerers they hunted, and of the good and the evil on both sides. You think of how the Eternals came as Voidwoken to reclaim their stolen world. You look at the source around you. The power is immense. Divinity at your fingertips. You think of what you could do with such power. The rights you'd wrong, the wars you'd win. You marvel at your journey and how it has changed you. You think of those you left behind, and of those you met along the way, who stood by. It's time to choose your fate, and the fate of all you hold dear. What shall it be? Shall you be divine? After all that you have been through, and all that you have done, all that you have become, the Aetheran lies in front of you. Divinity is yours to take, or to sacrifice. What you do next decides your own fate and the future of the world. What shall you do with divinity?
And so it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the Godwoken. A new divine rose, a true heir to the Seven, more powerful than ever, and united Rivellon in its battle against the Void. All across the realm he was loved, worshipped, and adored. Humans, lizards, elves, and dwarves all rallied to his banner. The Great Allegiance stood once more, but the war continued. From the depths of the Void, the God King still sought to return. As for me, I was freed of the God King's terrible tyranny. I avoided an eternity of pain and suffering. Now I fight for the other side. Now, I fight for the divine.
Malady stands tall and proud, sunlight sparkling off her mask. From here she looks almost angelic.
Well, here we are again. You, me, and the ship I've saved from ruin for your personal benefit. I'd say you owe me, but why state the obvious? Let an eye fool, Your Holiness. I expect it's the last we'll see of each other for some time.
She turns to you, arms crossed, and grins.
Look at you. Magnificent. Don't I know it? Let's hope it pays off.
She fingers the mask covering her face. For a moment, it seems as though she's about to remove it, but instead, she places a hand on your shoulder.
We've come a long way together. I did my best by you all the way. I sacrificed much. But I'd give even more to see you become exactly what you've become. Soon, I'd like to have a little chat about something you can do for me. But I believe that can wait. Relax. Enjoy. I certainly plan to do the same. Oh, I don't know, around and about. Treat myself to some mead, a level 300. I'd say we've earned it. And when the time comes, I'll come find you. Your Holiness.
Well, well, look what the cat dragged in. A god, no less.
He smiles at you fondly as he takes you by the hand.
You've done us proud. You saved the world, didn't you? No, we were all of us instrumental. Only one walked away with divinity. I'm glad it was you. Home, if you don't mind. After all, I've dragons to raise. I need to teach them to be good boys and girls before they set the entire world on fire. There may be an accident or two along the way. Please don't hold it against them. I do so long to see my palace again. The Forbidden City. The scents of spices and incense. The sound of sitars in far-off rooms. To sit all day in perfumed shade and watch the white of the marble change with the journey of the sun. But above all, I long to be with Sadha. Long to finally have the time to love. Oh, but before you go, remember how when we first met, I took you by the jaw to inspect your teeth? So you did, you little firebrand, you. Now, if you recall, you cut short my little questionnaire, leaving me quite in the dark as to your cooking skills, fashion sense, and regard for personal hygiene. I can only still, I'm nothing if not a tolerant man who believes in individual growth. I'm sure the journey taught you much. As such, I'd like to offer you what was denied to you before. The opportunity to become my slave. What say you? Well, that's settled. You're very welcome to my house indeed. We'll feast and reminisce. But in the meantime, my boots are not going to clean themselves.
Well, Quirkers, look who finally graced us with their presence. I suppose some thanks are in order. What? No, you should be thanking me. I just saved the world from the great acorn. You're welcome, by the way. Honestly, Quirkers, some creatures have no sense of perspective.
A huge grin slowly spreads across the squirrel's small face.
Of course, had you not stopped this God King and his lackeys, there would have been very little left for me to save, so...
The cat moves forward, twisting around your legs and filling air with the sound of dry, dusty purring.
Ah, Quirkers! Please, have a little decorum. This battle is won, my friend, but we still have a war to fight. We've undone the great acorn, But the Knights of Dre are still out there. They summoned the Great Acorn once. They will be able to summon it again. We have to destroy their order, once and for all. That is the future Quercus and I have ahead of us. We no longer need a shield. But we are very happy to have a friend. The honor is all mine. I pray we will not need to call on you, but I am grateful for the offer. I never thought I would be proud to have befriended a giant, but there is no one Ow! Crackers! There is no one that we would rather have walked this world with. I do not know what comes next for you, but you will always have a friend in the forest. Come, Quercus. We must... Oh, I think you have something in your eye, my friend.
The cat curls up and snuggles into his squirrel friend, who quietly sits and sniffs on the deck. Fane is reading a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia. He leafs through it slowly, muttering to himself.
Interesting.
His eyes stay fixed on the book as you approach. Fane looks up, his gaze carefully drinking you in.
Fascinating. The power of my people. The power of the veil. All in one delicate mortal shell. Who could have imagined? I don't doubt it.
The skeleton looks back to the book. You can feel the grief radiating from him.
I can't help thinking that I could have saved them. That I could have done something. Right. An interesting concept. You creatures talk about right and wrong as if they are carved in stone somewhere for all to see. No. I made a choice. And I shall live with that choice until the end of days. That doesn't mean I cannot mourn them, though. They deserve that much.
The skeleton hefts Hubert's dog-eared encyclopedia, its weight heavy in his hands.
I've been rereading this book, looking over your history once again, poring over every detail with a new perspective, and do you know what? It's shit.
Fane tosses the book over his shoulder. It flutters in the air as it sails over the ship's railing and disappears with a faint splash.
If you have spent your life staring at a thing, you can write about it with knowledge. You can write about it with love, but it is almost impossible to write about it with wonder. You creatures have spent your lives trudging about this world, and you've grown blind to its miracles. Simply that to see the true beauty of a thing, sometimes you have to look at it as an outsider, as someone with fresh eyes, if you will. Take otters, for example. Energetic, waterproof cats, utterly beautiful creatures. Or octopuses. Did you know they're secretly Octopuses? Octopi? Octopods? I shall have to look that up. Regardless, the world is filled with absolutely incredible sights. And who better to catalogue them with the awe they deserve than someone seeing them for the first time? Do you know, there is the idea that nothing is ever truly created or destroyed. I suppose we are all source, just in different forms. You being the cruder, Less jewel-encrusted form, naturally. But my people were Source too. Although we didn't know it at the time. And our Source helped create you. In a way, I was walking alongside the best version of them the entire time. In you, I found a home better than the one I was pining for. Thank you, Godwalker.
I've never been fond of what the Divine stands for, but I must say, it's rather exciting to say I've been up close and personal with one.
Reform my ways. How adorable.
No, I'm afraid I cannot escape who I am and what I've done.
Her eyes flick down to your mouth. She smiles coyly, then slinks forward to kiss you. Almira pouts in disappointment, but it quickly morphs into a devilish grin.
Oh, no matter. We'll always have our first kiss. I haven't been quite able to put it out of my mind. Just as I'm... Who knows? A nice cottage someplace quiet for Mahalia and I. A roaring fire and a feather bed. Maybe. Maybe. But a girl needs some fun, doesn't she?
Losa winks and curtsies in playful reverence. Her spectral gaze twinkles. Beast Spirit smiles as you approach and begins to sing a tune you think vaguely from...
Here the wild beast just sails on the ocean. He's docked in the bay and coming your way. Off on the yawn, you hear the commotion. He's docked in the bay and coming your way. The cupboard can't hide you, nor can your bed.
He pauses, then continues to hum, all the...
Darling, there you are. Come, let me take a look at you. I've never known a god before they became divine. I was curious if it would have changed you.
She gives you a long, assessing look, but makes no immediate comment.
Really?
She paces around you like a cat, looking you over.
Well, you certainly look the same. But there's something in the air around you. It vibrates ever so slightly. There's magic in it. Power. Don't you feel it? Maybe you should give it a bit of time. I imagine it takes almighty power a little while to settle in. I'll serve my people as best I can. I'm theirs now, and they are mine. But I won't forget what we shared. I'll never forget that. We love each other after all.
A kiss, and oh, how sweet she tastes.
Let's do good. You by yours, me by mine. Together. Though... It gives me almost as much pleasure to speak to you as it does to be whole again. I will always be an ally to those that carry swords, to those whose blood is of the heroes of old, and so, as always, I am at the ready.
You look out to the endless beyond. The sun's light plays upon the waves, just as it always did. The sails flutter in the wind, just as they always will. And yet, something is different. You are different. And with a start, you realize where you must go next. You speak the command to the Lady Vengeance, and another chapter begins. War raged on. Arx remained the center of power as the races united behind the Divine. But the Voidwoken attacks continued as they did elsewhere. Arx would see many more long years of war. The ancient empire of lizards became one of the pillars of the new Divine Alliance. The houses of war and of shadows were particularly useful in the fight against the God King. The Empire used the war to expand its territory. With Justinia dead, the Dwarven Kingdom descended into chaos. But although they did not join the Divine Alliance, many joined the fight against the Void, and did their people great honor in battle and in death. With Lucian gone, the elves reluctantly rejoined the Divine Alliance. Their place in the war on the Void would entirely depend on the integrity of the new Divine. And on the integrity of the elven Godwoken who did not ascend. And here and there, across the world, what was left of the Black Ring fought on. The island of Fort Joy remained a sorcerer's paradise, a place of exile for those whose sorcery threatened to bring in the Void. For their well-being, its residents depended entirely on the benevolence of the new Divine. Reaper's Coast struggled on. The farms and the fisheries fought to feed the people against the Voidwoken blight. The black pits took fire. The oil there burns still. Driftwood teetered on the edge of starvation until the night the Voidwoken came from the sea. All were killed. This did, however, put an end to the famine. The nameless isle had vanished. Although only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why. Arx battled on. Young Han grew up a warrior and became one of the Alliance's greatest generals. But even he could not win the war. Almira and Mihaili settled in an abandoned homestead. The locals liked and respected Almira. She never wanted for help, and deals always fell to her favor. Outsiders were often suspicious, but no local would speak against her. With a new Divine at the helm, Malady had a powerful ally, but she was in no hurry to call in her favor. After all, it might be the last thing she ever did. Ahu the Wizard served the new Divine with honor, wisdom, and an at times unnerving feline elegance. Jehan the Demon Hunter never stopped hunting for demons. Sahala sought to strengthen the Elven Alliance with the new Divine. Her powers of sight proved useful in the ongoing war against the Void, but she could never be sure that the new Divine trusted her. Tova, her mother, was Sahala's most trusted warrior. Fane travelled Rivellon, notebook in hand, recording the wonders he discovered. He kept a socket peeled for signs of the Eternals, hoping to find the wife he had lost. He's still looking. As the new mother, Sabine found a great forest and founded a new elven homeland. Elves flocked to her and worshipped her as a goddess. Sabine swore never to kill again, but once in a while she'd look at her needle and smile. On his return to the Empire, the Red Prince was hailed a hero. He married Sada, and they had many more dragons. Soon, the prince became the emperor. Faced with dragons, the Void did not gain the upper hand in the Empire. And then there was you. You, Ifan Ben Mesd, the Silver Claw, the redeemed divine. What did you do with your power? What kind of divine were you as the world battled on? Did you show mercy or strength? Did you sacrifice others as Lucian had done? Did you regret becoming divine? Did you wish you'd surrendered the power that runs through your veins and sealed the veil? Only you know the truth. Only you know if you atone for your sins.